Hello, everybody. It's Savella. Welcome back to my channel. Or if you're here for the first time, this is where we are getting back to living and loving life again after a major life-altering loss. And of course, the holidays are coming up. And if you've been widowed, or if you are trying to date or are in love with a widow, I've got some things to share with you tonight because this time of year can bring up a lot of feelings for everyone. I mean, even when you're not in a relationship or even when you're not widowed, it can be really hard. Just look at social media. People are posting about it all over the place. Oh, this sucks. This is terrible. And now I'm speaking to you, widows and widowers, that you've had this major transition in your life. Now, you may be early in your loss, so I'm going to speak to that tonight. But what I want you to keep in mind is if you're watching this video and you're far out from your loss, I'm also going to address that. So hang on. Because the feelings can continue to arise within you, even years into having been widowed and even being in a new relationship. And I'm going to share vulnerably with you some of my own stories and experiences that may hopefully be useful or helpful to you. Now, if you are, let's say, in your first year of loss and that you're coming up, you just had Thanksgiving, right? And so you may have been sitting around and watching that football game or knowing the football game's on, or or how your wife used to hate it when you sat around and watched football all day. Maybe this year you don't even feel like watching football, or that you're having these experiences where you're with family and you're just not experiencing the level of joy that you've had in the past. So what I want to say to you about that is this, yes, it's normal. Okay, you hear a lot of people say that, but I want to speak to you from a point of very deep empathy and having been there and still continue to be there myself, having been widowed. Now, when you have those feelings arise within you, what I want to recommend is not to push them away. Now, you may be in a place where you have to compartmentalize them a little bit. Let's say, for example, you're sitting at the Thanksgiving dinner table, or people have invited you out, or you're at an event that you need to attend for work or something like that. And all you can think about is your late spouse, or what it is that you're missing, or what things could have been like, or how they would have been enjoying this, that, or the other thing. And really sitting in the sadness of that can be challenging because that's all you want to do is go home and stick your head under the covers and forget any of this is freaking happening. But it is happening, and you are here, you are there in that moment with the family around the table, at the event, or even sitting at home alone because it was just you mostly and your partner, your life partner. I'll say that because not everybody's married when they get widowed. And there you are sitting in that sadness. And what do you do with it? What do you do with it when you're in the middle of a huge group of people or any of it? Okay, this is what you do. You hold on to it like you would a little child. Okay, you have a little baby and it's crying and it's disrupting the room. What do you do with the baby? Well, you take the baby into the other room, don't you? And you soothe the baby. You give the baby what it needs. You give it a bottle, you walk it around the room, you pat it on the bottom until it goes to sleep, until it calms down. Okay. And so there's an opportunity, but you don't leave the party because the baby's crying. You just attend to the baby. Now, this is something that you can do for yourself metaphorically, that you recognize that sadness that's within you, and don't try to push it away or make it something that it's not, or feel like you shouldn't, or gosh, I should be enjoying this moment, or I don't even want to frickin' be here right now, but I have to be for the family. Okay. So you take it and you put it to side, and this is called compartmentalizing, and it can be done in a very good and healthy way. Okay? So you take it and you stick it to the side and you hold on to it and you just recognize that it's there and you greet the sadness. Now, don't, I know some of you are like, oh yeah, this is like whatever. It works. Okay. And when you're suffering and sad and struggling, you've got to just do what works because life is different now and it's never going back to the way it was. And so all of these new feelings that are arising within you that you've never had to deal with before is no one right way to do it. Okay, now if you want to stay home and stick your head under the covers and stay there for the holidays, that's fine. You can do that too. But if you're choosing to be out and to associate, then you take those feelings, hold them tightly, hold them close, and recognize them, acknowledge them, and greet them, and give them your attention to a degree. Okay? And you say, it's okay for you to be here. Tell it in your mind. It's okay for this sadness to be here. This is normal. And it's okay. And it's okay that I don't feel normal in this situation. It's okay that I am deeply, deeply, deeply missing my partner right now. And this is something I don't want to go through, but I know that I must. And I'm going to allow it for this day. I'm going to allow it for this moment. I'm going to allow it for the end of this evening, whatever it is. And don't, and people may look at you and be like, oh, you know, they're trying to cheer you up, or maybe they'll avoid you, or who knows. And that's all okay. Even when it's not okay, it's still okay. There's nothing more awkward than having been widowed and being at a family event and everyone's trying to have a good time and they feel like maybe they shouldn't have a good time around you because you're sad, or maybe they're missing them too. And then it's like, So the question is, can you allow yourself to have some joy in this situation? Can you allow yourself to enjoy the grandchildren or your kids or your friends or your family members? And can you allow yourself to laugh, even just a little bit? Because being joyful does not mean that you miss your beloved any less. Being joyful does not mean that you're not grieving and deeply sad inside. Being joyful means that you are allowing yourself this moment of life to truly experience it, to truly be here, because your beloved that's now crossed over on the other side can't be here to do it for you. Now, there was a way of grieving. I've studied a lot of different ways of grieving. And please forgive me, but I know as one of our Native American tribal traditions. I've worked in tribal health for many, many years, and so I've learned a lot of different ways from different tribal cultures, but I can't name which one this is. But what they would do, I do know it's one in the contiguous United States. And being from Alaska, I tend to know a lot of our Alaska Native ways from things I've learned from others. But they would take something that person who died loved the most. And when they loved that the most, the person would then go do it for them. So if they love to swim, and maybe I'm not a swimmer, I'm going to go swimming. If they love to eat carrots, I'm going to buy myself some carrots and eat carrots because they loved it. If they love to garden, I'm going to pick up whatever I can and go plant some flowers. Now, this isn't just doing it in their honor. This is doing it because there's that understanding that we are all connected, we are all one, and that we are not separated from our loved ones on the other side. Physically, yes, but in the essence of what is true and real about us, in the essence of what we are and continue to be, that we do not essentially die. The body stops working and we transform back to our natural spiritual home. But we are really a veil away from the other world. Now we're in these dense physical bodies, and so we can't see them because we're it's kind of like animals can see certain things or smell certain things that we can't, right? Because they have a different sensory level. It's similar to that, if I have to put it in layman's terms, that the spiritual world is a different vibrational level. So it's kind of like they can see us, but we can't see them. As much like I can't smell the thing that the bloodhound can smell. But it exists, doesn't it? Because the bloodhound can smell it, but it's better equipped to catch up that scent. So knowing that we have that infinite connection with our loved ones, and if we have that bond of love with them, then if we eat the carrot, if we go swimming, if we plant the plant, then they are doing it with us. And when they do it with us, then we are then sharing that joy of the event, of the activity with them. them. We do it for them, not just in their honor, but we do it with them. They can experience that joy, the taste of the turkey, the smell of the cake, the laughter of the grandchildren. And so if you allow them to be with you in that sense, and to consider that tradition as something that might be useful in your grieving process, they get to experience it with you. Could you use that to allow yourself some joy in the moment, knowing that they get to share it through you in that way because of your infinite connection? There is no separation. We imagine that there is because we're in so much pain, because the loss feels so unbearable. But you can bear it, and you will. And you don't ever have to want to, because you never will. But it's there. If you carry that skill with you and pull that out when you need it most, it might carry you. And you might discover some new things that you didn't enjoy before. Because maybe if you sit and watch that football game you always complained about before, you might find something new to enjoy about it. And so you're not living for them, but we can live with them in that way and enjoy some of the things that they enjoyed. Now, if this is close, it's the same thing. If they had a goal in mind, say they always wanted to go to India, go to India. You know, if it's at all possible. Or they wanted to take that trip and go see the Statue of Liberty. Go do that. Go do it and bring them with you. Share that joy. This will help you through those difficult times, those difficult moments. Now, if you are someone who's years out, or a ways out at least, beyond a year from your loss, and you're really able to start getting into living your life again, maybe you're dating or you're falling in love again, and then the holidays roll around and you are wondering, where's these feelings coming from? Where's the nostalgia that's coming up about my late spouse? Where's that come from? Does it mean that I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing, or loving the person I'm loving, or living the life that I'm in? Should I feel guilty about it? And I'm going to share a story with you. Now, I'm 8 years out from being widowed now. 8 years. It's been a long time. Not as long as some, shorter than others. And even still, I have those feelings that come up that say, gosh, how different would my life be right now if my late husband had lived? What would he be doing right now with our son if he had lived? Would I be a grandma right now if he had lived? Right? Because I probably would have. My life would have been very different. I had two beautiful stepdaughters, and one of them has a huge family now. She has children of her own and a big family. Would we have done something with them? Would I have a lot of family around me now too? And the truth is that we will take ourselves to these places of the what ifs. But shoulda, coulda, been. And it's going to come up for you. And I share that it comes up for me because I want you to know these things are normal and natural. Even if you're really happy in your life, these things will come up. And for me, my life is good. I have a great partner who takes very good care of me and my son. And I have everything that I need. Things are going places in my life, and there's lots of good things in it. And so when I have those feelings of what if, what shoulda, coulda, wouldas, I bring myself back into gratitude for what's going on in my life right now, while honoring what was. Because the reality is we can woulda, shoulda, coulda ourselves about a past that we never got to have, right? Or a future that we're never going to get to have. A past meaning the time between when your spouse died up until now. Okay, you think of all things that coulda, woulda been in that time period up until this moment. And the thing is that was never going to happen. It was never going to be for me. It was never going to be for me. It was never going to be for you. Why? Because they died. Even if the death seemed preventable or chosen, it's what happened. And until we can accept that things couldn't have been any different than they were, because everything that led up to the moment of that person passing, however it is they passed, is not something that we can change. We can only imagine that we could have changed. But all the choices that were made in the moments that led up to that moment of that person's death were as they were. Even if we think I should have done something different, well, we couldn't have done anything different because of the information we had in the moment. If you could relive it, maybe you could do something different, but now you're reliving it with new information. And at every moment, every choice that we're presently making, we're making with the full ability that we have. Even if we're angry, we're responding and acting in a certain way, or we're sad and we're acting in a certain way, we're doing it to the best of our ability in that moment. Now that comes from a belief of believing that we're always truly trying to do our best. And sometimes we try to do our best from very broken places. And we do have regrets, but the regrets, they don't serve us. And so all of those behaviors that led up to that moment couldn't have been any different than they were. Now you can spend some time with that. You can argue it, and you're welcome to. Please put your comments below. I invite you to really spend some time thinking about that. Because even right now, what I say to you, I'm saying to you from the best of my ability. Could I look back and say, gosh, could I have said something different? We don't get the chance to redo our moments. And it's not for us to live in a state of regret for any longer than we need to teach us a lesson. And the lesson doesn't mean to live with regret or shame or self-punishment. But the lesson then serves to drive us towards the future, which then honors our loved one. It honors them when we can do it differently in the future. And it helps them on the other side when we do something in their honor, but not with pain and regret. Well, you might have a little bit of pain. You may not be able to stop the pain, but the regret part. That's a low vibration energetic emotion, and it doesn't serve us. So once you've understood your lesson, I could have been more compassionate, I could have been more proactive, I could have been this or that or the other thing, and then to be able to forgive yourself is so important. And live in that honor. And know that when you enter into a state of nostalgia or just spending a lot of time with what could have been, just again, be gentle with yourself, because it's normal. We're curious creatures. We want to know and we'll never know, but it's okay to think and dream. But what I want to say to you widowers who are living and loving again is that don't allow that to take you over and take you out of the moment that you're living now. Okay? Because the person that's in front of you, the family that needs you, the friends that are asking for your company, or the things that you could be doing with your time that are more productive, are what living this life is about. And so, again, like I said in the beginning of the video, you kind of compartmentalize. Allow this to exist, right? The woulda, coulda, shoulda is if you have them, Acknowledge them, and then know that these may not be of the greatest service to you in moving forward. Okay. So there's never a getting over, right? It's just a moving through and moving forward in your life while things continue to exist. So allow yourself to feel the joy of the moment because you're allowed to. You're allowed to. And if you have the thought of your late spouse in your mind and you're loving someone else and you have a new world in front of you and they're in the back of your mind and they say, yeah, Janice would have loved this drink or George would have really enjoyed this golf course. And that's wonderful. You can do that. And also while you're doing that, turn to the people around you that are present with you and say, gosh, I'm really enjoying how Sally is soaking up the moment, or how she's decorating the tree, or how Anthony is just really being good with my kids right now, or how he picked out the perfect pumpkin pie. The gratitude for the moment that you're in is going to help to take you out of the grievance of the past and help bring you into more joy for your ongoing future. And any of these things honors your loved one. It honors yourself. And it most importantly, honors the people that are there with you who want to share this moment and create new memories, more memories for you. And for those of you that are early on in your loss, know that the building blocks of grief and recovery from that grief are inherent in the process that you're moving through right now. So allowing yourself some of this joy that may be going on around you, or trying to find some if you don't have any. And even if the joy is maybe this big when your spouse was alive and now you've only got this much of it, acknowledge the little bit. Because what you focus on increases. And you may have to use all of your effort for that moment of joy that you're trying to focus on. And just allow yourself to have it a little bit. Because that little bit's going to grow over time. It's going to get bigger. And it's going to become a larger part of your life. But don't focus on the later. Don't focus on the past. Allow yourself to focus fully on your present moment. And look for the exceptional where you can. And take your light and shift it there, even if you can only do it for a little while. Because you're building your muscles of recovery from grief. So it no longer becomes the most prominent thing in your life. It becomes a companion that may live with you, but they don't have to take up the whole house forever. Maybe for today. But tomorrow, a year from now, 2 years from now, when you'll still be here, that's going to be the same size. But your house, your world is going to be a little bit bigger around that. Maybe a lot bigger. And that's going to depend on how you allow yourself to focus on the good things that come into your world whenever you have the opportunity to do it. Your little light right now is going to get a lot bigger. But all it takes is a spark to light up a dark room. You can get through the holidays. You can get through the birthdays. You can get through the mundane days that feel hopeless. You are strong. You can do this. And for those of you far out from your loss, you can allow yourself to have a little nostalgia and still be present in your world right now. And for all of you, just know that your loved ones on the other side never truly leave us, because the connection, the bond that we have from them is eternal. And right now, your job is to live this moment that you're in right now. And that's it. That's all you have to do, is live fully in this moment. Because a year from now, it's still going to be now. Think about that a little bit. Please like and subscribe to this channel and leave your comments below.